Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it." You want to be a disciple of Jesus. You want to be near him and with him, to be like him. You want to be a part of the kingdom. You want to be a part of his body. You want to be a part of his church. You have to follow him. You have to be his disciple and learn from him. Jesus doesn't say, if you want to be my disciple, then you need to have this spiritual awareness or awakening. You need to come to these particular theological conclusions, on and on and on. Jesus says, follow me. Pick up a cross, deny yourself, deny this world, and go where I go and do what I do. This is practical. This is concrete. To be a disciple of Jesus means we do stuff. We don't just sit there. We don't just stay there. As a matter of fact, if he says, follow me, that presupposes that we can't be still. We can't stay where we are or where he found us, but wherever he's going, we need to be there too. So there's movement, and there's action, and there's doing, and there's stuff. Now don't get me wrong. We are saved by the grace of God. It's not these actions that are drawing us to him, but in thanksgiving and in gratitude for what he's done for us already, we want to be more like him. We want to do what he asks. We want to follow where he goes. We want to be like him. So we follow. That means we pick up and we go. It's not right here, and it's not where we were, but it's somewhere else. And there's that action, there's that movement, there is that something with our bodies and our lives, and we have to do it. Because if you try to grab onto your own life and the things of this world and never let go, you will lose the only things that really count and the only things that really last when you let them go. You are not hindered or tied down. You are not chained or weighted or burdened. And you can go where you're supposed to go. And you can follow him wherever he may lead. Jesus is saying all of this because he starts talking about his sacrifice. He starts talking about suffering. He starts talking about the cross. And the disciples are like, whoa, wait a second. I mean, you're Jesus, and it should be all good stuff, and it should all be easy and fine and happy and nice and good, and God's power, and smite them and do stuff, man. Fix this. And Jesus is saying, no, that the way the world is redeemed is not through the waving of a magic wand. The way the world is redeemed is through my suffering and through my death. This is the gracious, undeserved love of God. This is how he demonstrates it to the world, and this is how he delivers us from sin and darkness. The only thing that's going to beat death is death, and Jesus will die, but he will be raised again, and because of him, we will too. But the disciples don't get that. Their heads are spinning with this whole suffering and death thing, and there goes Peter talking before his brain really gets in gear, like, no, never die, and never suffer. And Jesus is like, all right, shut up. Get behind me, Satan, and you're a distraction, you're a hindrance, all of those sort of stuff. We feel kind of bad for Peter because he really does get hammered. But he doesn't realize what he's saying. And Jesus is explaining to them and to us very clearly in concrete, practical terms that the kingdom of God will be built through his life, through his death, and through his resurrection. You want to be a part of that kingdom. You want to be a part of that body. You want to be a part of that family. Then you have to be a disciple. You have to pick up the cross. You have to follow him. You have to go where he goes and do what he does. Because when we don't, we run the risk of trading something that will last forever for something that one day will be dead and gone, will be broken and lost, will let us down, and will break our hearts. He says you have to do these active things. This is action. This is practical. This is concrete. Do these things. Follow me. Take up a cross. And and it sounds kind of easy enough until we start to, well, what does that mean? Take up a cross. And what does that look like? I mean, do we need to kind of build the cross first? And what are the dimensions? And what sort of wood? And does it have to be like yay? Okay, so it's maybe metaphorical, or this is just sort of churchy language that we're supposed to follow him? Or do you have like GPS coordinates? I mean, something I can put in my phone and is Siri's going to direct me to where he's going? It might seem a little esoteric. It might seem a little ethereal. It might seem just like churchy language to say, take up a cross and follow him. Where's the practicality? What does that actually mean? Aha! Today's your day. Because the lectionary hasn't just given us this passage. It has given us a passage from Romans 12 as well. Open it back up, please. You want to know what it looks like to be a disciple of Jesus. You want to know what that means in your actions and in your behavior, in your words, in your attitudes, in your interpersonal relationships, what it's going to mean for your finances, what it's going to mean for your priorities, what it's going to mean for the practicalities of concrete real life. Read Romans chapter 12. And it's all right there. You want to know what it looks like to be a disciple? We've heard it already. But let's look at it again. Now, Romans chapter 12, we're talking about one of my favorite chapters from one of my favorite books, and one of my favorite verses appears in here, but I'm not going to concentrate on that. We're just going to move through it, because this whole sense of what does it mean to be a disciple, what does it mean to follow Jesus, what does it mean to take up a cross, it can just sort of feel so abstract that we can say, oh yeah, that's a good idea, sure, I'll do that. But we don't know what we're talking about. What does it look like? It looks like this. Love with sincerity. Love for real. Not just on the surface, but deep inside. Hate what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in love. Care for each other. Take care of each other. Be there for each other. Honor one another above yourself. Treat people not just the way you would like to be treated. Treat them better than that. Never be lacking in zeal. Have some passion for the Lord. Have some energy and conviction and commitment. But keep that spiritual fervor pointed at him and not yourself. Don't just freak out and flip out, but use it in order to serve the Lord. Be joyful in hope, for hope does not disappoint us. Be patient in affliction, for suffering will not last. Be faithful in prayer, and hold on to him. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Keep on doing it. Keep on practicing until you get really, really good at it. Until it becomes just a natural part of what you do. You are simply hospitable to people who are in need always and everywhere. Yeah, but what about the people who persecute me? What about the people who are mean? The people who are jerks? The people who go out of their way to poke me in the eye? Bless them. Don't curse them. Bless them. Rejoice when people are rejoicing in the Lord. If they have been blessed, if a prayer has been answered, they are thankful or filled with gratitude, will you rejoice with them? God has blessed them, so be grateful and thankful alongside of them. If they are mourning, then mourn with them. And sometimes people will be crying, and sometimes people will be brokenhearted, and this world is hard, and this world is difficult, and it can be filled with pain. Cry with them. Jesus himself weeps at the grave of his friend Lazarus. So when people are sad, don't just tell them to suck it up, or don't just tell them, oh, it's all going to work out okay. Be willing to cry with them. Live in harmony with one another. Live in harmony, not in concert with one another. In concert would mean everyone's playing the same note. Harmony means you're playing different notes, but they all still fit together. They are complementary that actually bring out good things in each other. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to look like each other. You don't have to act or think like each other, but do so harmoniously, working together for this beautiful harmony where everything fits and we make one another better and not worse. It's not in conflict with one another. It is in cooperation with one another. Don't be proud. Be willing to associate with people who you assume are in a lower position than you are. That's good enough for Jesus to hang out with us. It ought to be good enough for us to hang out with people that we think are below us. Love them. Serve them. Do not look down upon them. Do not be proud. Do not be conceited. Don't be so full of yourself. Don't be so stuck up, self-centered, but love and serve people that you think are better than you, people you think that are worse than you. The station of life should not matter at all. Don't repay anyone evil for evil. Someone comes, pokes you in the eye. It takes no strength at all to poke them right back. That's easy. That's simple. Poking in the eye is super easy to do. Like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to poke you right back. That's also easy to do. Real strength is saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Real strength is withholding. It's abstaining. Real strength is saying, I'm not going to do that. I could, but I choose not to. You don't have to take vengeance. Vengeance belongs to the Lord. You see evil? We're supposed to hate it. We're supposed to stop it. We're supposed to cling to the good, but it doesn't have to be in your hands to go beat them up. It doesn't have to be in your hands to make sure that anyone who's pushed you gets pushed right back. It's, as it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. As far as it's in your hands, be at peace with other people. Forgive other people. Care for other people. Don't poke back other people. Now, are there going to be folks who just flat refuse to allow you to be at peace with them? He's not saying that it's always going to work. He's saying as long as it's on your business. He says, as long as it's up to you. What's on them is on them. But as far as it's up to you, you be the peacemaker. You be the one who refuses to fight back. You be the one who loves instead of seeks vengeance, who refrains instead of poking. And if they refuse to be at peace, that's on them. That's not on you. Don't take revenge. Leave room for God's wrath. He will repay. There can be real enemies out there. How should you treat them? The one surefire way to destroy an enemy. The one surefire way. Surefire. Now, just obliterating your enemy has the tendency to create new ones. Like family and friends, you just would blow that person away. Like, well, I'm going to take vengeance. The only lasting way to defeat an enemy, you make them a friend. It's over. It's done. They are enemies no longer. You have an enemy and he's hungry, feed him. You have an enemy who is thirsty, give them something to drink. Number one, it will shame them. And in that shame, they may reconsider. But number two, it's like being at peace with those you can, as long as it's up to you. However your enemy treats you, who are you going to be? How are you going to act? They can be as ugly as they want. What will you do with that? Love them and serve them, for when we were enemies of God, Jesus loved us unto death. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. You see evil, and more evil is not going to stop it. More evil is just going to feed into it. More evil is going to suck more people into it, and the evil will grow. You don't fight evil with evil, you fight it with good. I was asked by someone last week, after one of the services, well, was that a political sermon? I said, no. I don't like political sermons. I hate political sermons. I never give political sermons. But you want a political sermon? You want one? This is it. That's it right there. You want a political sermon? Be a disciple of Jesus. Boom. Done. That's a political sermon. I am not one of those people who tries to convince you that the politics is the be-all, end-all of life, and every action, every thought it's a political action, political thought. I mean, that's the stuff that politicians say. Get over yourself, politicians. There's something bigger and more important and more lasting than that. It's hard to watch the news anymore. I barely watch it anymore. After weeks and weeks of ugliness, after weeks and weeks of nastiness and fighting and rioting and just the worst sort of stuff, did anyone watch the news accounts of the hurricane and almost feel the sense of relief? Now, I feel terrible for those folks who are so deeply affected. I'm a Floridian. I've lived through a lot of hurricanes, and I know how bad it can be. But as soon as the winds died down, and sometimes even before that, you had people hopping in boats to go hours to rescue people stranded on top of roofs. You want a political sermon? Do that. That is the practical, concrete manner in which we act as disciples of Jesus, in which we take a cross, in which we follow Him. You want a political sermon? America is great when America is good, and we have seen this goodness in the way that people have responded in a crisis to death, to flooding, to fear. And it hasn't mattered who you are. You're a stranger to me. You don't look like me. You don't act like me. You don't think like me. But you're in trouble, and I'm going to come help. That's my political sermon. Be a disciple of Jesus. Let the rest of the stuff take care of itself. We are called neither to success, fame or fortune, getting our way, being awesome, any of that kind of stuff. Jesus says, and it's clear and it's plain and it's simple, be obedient. Be humble. Take up a cross, be willing to suffer, and follow me. Go where I go, do what I do, and we ought to do that. Simple as that. It doesn't save us, He saves us. These actions, they don't redeem us. His gracious love and His death and resurrection do that. But when we receive it, we should desire to reflect it back. We should desire thanksgiving and gratitude. We should desire to say, you found me here, but I won't stay. I want to go where you go. I want to do what you do. So He says, pick up a cross. And He says, follow me. There's the action. There's the effort. There's the body and the soul. That our words matter. Our behavior matters. Our character matters. Our integrity matters. How we treat people, the way we order our lives, the way we set up our priorities, all of these things matter to Him. And the answer is to be His disciple. The answer is to pick up a cross and to follow Him. And when we think, now what does that look like again? Just go look at Romans chapter 12. Just go read verses 9 through 21 one more time. Feel free to take the bulletin and to stick it in your pocket, to put it in your purse or your wallet, or pin it to the wall or put it on a mirror. And if you ever get in a situation, well, what should I do right here? Look at that. Oh, yeah, right. That's what I ought to do. Sometimes it can feel easier and simpler to have like kind of a sort of a foundational list. Work from this. Well, here it is. If you've ever felt like discipleship is just a little too vague, here's all the concrete you need. Start pouring. For this is a foundation that will be solid and that will last. For it is no other foundation than Christ our Lord. This is the way Jesus acts. This is the way Jesus loves us. This is the way Jesus saves us. May we then do the same. Political sermon, non-political sermon, don't care. This is the point, and this is all you need. You want to be part of the kingdom? You want to be part of His body. You want to live in thanksgiving and gratitude for what He has done for us first. Be His disciple. If you don't know what that looks like, look right here. It's all spelled out. It is practical. It is doable. It is concrete, and it is right. By the power of the Holy Spirit working in us, we can do these things. So don't forget them. Don't neglect them. Don't toss this away or let it fall out of your head. He wants you to take a cross and follow him, because when we do that, we are like him. When we don't do that, we run the risk of losing the only thing that really matters. Take up a cross, follow him. You want to know what it looks like? It looks like